Hager with business solutions and profitability, and I am so glad to be with you again tonight. This is something that I am passionate about as well, and that is how to turn that rotten apple around if they're in your business. I'm sure you've heard the saying, the rotten apple will spoil the barrel. Well, have you had that happen? I'm sure you have, because everywhere I go, I see people in companies suffering from that person who's unwilling, uncooperative. Hi, Carly. We got to talk. I can't wait to talk to you. But if you ever had that person that is uncooperative, unwilling, and really just full of blame, and they're actually working with you in your business, what kind of a toll does that take on you? What toll does it take on your team? And also think about your incredible customers, because you know they are totally being affected by this negativity. Have you ever walked into a restaurant or a retail store and two people aren't getting along, or someone rolls their eyes as they look at somebody that's working there, and it's kind of like, oh my gosh, I want to get the heck out of here. So we just race back out of the door and we don't purchase anything. So here's the deal. We really need to get sensitive to this, and very often we desensitize ourselves to people who are negative. You know, it's kind of like we're terrified of them. They have so much power over us. And I've got to ask you, as business leaders, why are you tolerating this by allowing people to do any of this? And sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's just a matter of, sure, they say they'll do something and they don't do it. Or they say that they'll try to do something and they don't do it. So it's sometimes subtle, but there's a consistency. Hi, Rob. So good to see you. Oh my gosh, how is it in Buffalo, right? And Carly's in North Carolina, in Ohio, in Circleville. I just love being with you. Oh my gosh. So here's the thing. I'm really curious. If you have someone that is bringing the team down, what are you doing about it? And I'm going to give you 3 tips of ways that you can shift it around, or insights about what's really going on inside of that person. And the first thing that I really want to ask you is, can you change somebody else? Can you? Have you tried? Does it work? No. So who's the person you can change? That's right, yourself. So when you see someone behaving in a way, and you've attempted to talk to them and you've attempted to change their behavior and nothing has worked. I mean, I have worked in companies where they have stacks and stacks of write-ups on an employee, but the employee's still working there. So how effective is that? Not. So I'm going to say that the consequences of not getting these 3 tips could really cause you so much more stress, could cause your team to burn out, because guess who's actually thinking about this person all the time? Pretty much everyone. And it causes people in some ways to just be kind of reluctant to go to work every day if they know that they're going to be working side by side with this person. Now, if it's a boss, it's more serious, because everyone's looking at that person for leadership and guidance, and if they are finding fault, it's crazy. When I used to be a regional manager of 110 stores in 6 states for general nutrition centers, and I remember working with the vice president of stores, and his way of doing things was to find a fault. Just find a flaw. He'd go into some place and he'd just, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, and then he'd leave. And the people are standing there going, oh my God, I'm so deflated, I don't know what to do. So that game is really that person not taking any responsibility. So I'm going to give you 3 tips. And again, this is my passion, and I want you, if you know anyone who's suffering at work, and you know what? There are millions of people that are suffering at work. And that is my mission, is to turn this work environment into a labor of love, a place where people love to go to work every day, and they know how to turn things back around when things go off track. And we have to be reminded of that, because we get in our wonderful little comfort zone. So imagine what it would be like if everyone was productive, committed, and enthusiastic, and really linked arms with you to bring out the very best in themselves every day, and also to really align themselves towards your common goals. It's just amazing, and come into collaboration with you. So, why I'm qualified to do this, if you don't know who I am, I'm inviting you to be a part of my movement. The movement, from my perspective, is have incredible places for people to go to work, and no matter what the product, what the service, that everyone is passionate and aligned, and they share the vision, so that every day has a purpose for them and it aligns with their values, which is so important. Right, Rob? We know all about that, right? From our wonderful friend Mary Morrissey. I mean, it's aligning with values. And last night, I'll just let you know, I've been working for 32 years all over the world, several countries, with hundreds of companies, large, small, and family-owned are my passionate favorites. But what I've been doing is learning how to draw out the best, the vision, how to create the culture, and really set the culture based on trust, and how to rebuild it when it breaks, because trust is fragile, and there are little things that trigger it being broken, but we can consciously build it back. And what happens when you have a company that shares a vision and everyone's aligned, amazing things happen. Like Carly, I've watched her evolve her business for years now. And the last time I went last year was just brilliant. She's incorporated all kinds of fun, wonderful things in her business, and her team is so tight. They're fabulous. And all the people that are seasonal are coming back this year because it meant something to them. And we're really bringing our heart to work. So because of this foundation, I've seen companies double their sales. I've seen their expansion. And we also structure the organization so that everybody knows what good looks like. And they have a system for teaching and learning, and they teach themselves their job. And there's a set of mentors to keep it rolling. And it is beautiful. And once you have that set in place, woohoo, sky's the limit. So it's so exciting. So that's what I've been doing. And I honestly listen to thousands of people every year telling me how miserable they are at work. And Forbes did a study last year in 2016, and they found out that 85% of employees don't like their job. Oh my gosh. Would that be a horrible experience? And so to me, hi, Dawn. Nice to see you, darling. So to me, it's so important for people to truly embrace what they do, to have it make some meaning for them. And I'm going to tell you that as a leader, as a person who cares about your business and cares about your people, you're my kind of client. And to me, this movement is, let's make everyone conscious about what it takes to work not as a family that's kind of dysfunctional, but literally a whole unit of wonderful people that are really gathered to create some wonderful magic every single day. It can be done, and it is done, and it's so exciting. So I also now have a business partner, Danielle Isaac, and we've created this whole online courses. So I'm going to be offering you a webinar for next Tuesday, and I can't wait for you to be on that with me. And if you have any business owners or leaders that you would love to invite to it, please do. I want to share this with everyone. So let's get down to brass tacks here. What do you do with a rotten apple? So one of the things that I want to bring to your attention is that, like the find the flaw game, our mind is very seduced by negativity. And it's only because it's the amygdala in our brain that was like the dinosaur prehistoric brain that used to tell us instantly, without consciously thinking, to run from the big animals and, and then eat the little ones, So our brain is actually set for fight or flight or freeze. And what happens is automatically when anybody even goes, our brain goes, what's going on? And you know how people gawk when they see an ambulance at some sort of a, on the street somewhere, if they're always looking for blood. Our brain is conditioned to have negativity take the forefront. Is that crazy? So I want you to know that it's normal for people to respond and react to negativity. But you know what? That's the first instinct. Then my recommendation is you've got to overcome that with consciousness. So here's the thing. When someone is unwilling, have you ever attempted to make them willing? Does it work? You might be able to make them willing for a very short time, but on their own, are they going to continue being willing? So, and studying human behavior and psychology for most of my life, what I've discovered, if they're unwilling, very often they're not happy with what they're doing. And so their negativity is getting a lot of attention, but they're not being productive. So I'm going to say to you, and again, it's an insight. If you have an unwilling person or someone who says yes, yes, yes to everything, but they don't take the action. Hi, Jerry. Great to see you again. So you're in North Carolina. I had a feeling about North Carolina. I said, Carly, but no, she's Ohio. Great to see you, Jerry. So the big thing with having that unwilling person, if you allow them to continue and they continue to be unwilling, what kind of damage do they cause? And you know what? I'm working with family-owned businesses. Sometimes it could be a family member. But if you look at how happy is that person, how empowered and passionate are they about what they're doing, if what they're doing primarily is being unwilling? So the answer for me is career adjustment. That means, you know what? It's not working. Or maybe it's worked for a long time, but it's time for a change. And I've got to say, and Rob and I know this because we've been working on building our dreams for years. Sometimes it's just time for a new dream. It's time for something new to happen in our lives. And it's a great thing. So don't be afraid to do career adjustment with something when it's not working, because it doesn't serve anyone, especially yourself and your customers. So tolerate. Because when you allow a person who's negative or who's unwilling or uncooperative to stay, what are you telling them non-verbally? That's right. You're saying that it's okay. And I've got to honestly tell you that if you see gossip going on, most likely it's the people that are being affected negatively by this unwilling person. You know, the one everyone walks around so they don't confront them. So that's really important. The second thing is blame. When someone's blaming, and I see, in fact, I've heard two situations with clients talking about the person that is blaming is the owner, or the person that's blaming is the president of the company or the vice president. And it's like, you know, when they go into, you're not giving 100%. And, you know, it's like, well, what do you want me to do? And then they're not specific. Or tell you, this is two situations I've heard in the last 2 days where the person was going to have a raise. And all of a sudden, we're now looking in the gunny sack. What do I have in the gunny sack against this person? And it's like, you know what? They deserve a raise. And it's just it sends a terrible message to everyone. When someone who's a brilliant employee and really a great performer, they get gunny sacked with, oh, well, you made a mistake last month. But then the track record has been fabulous. So this type of thing is just absolutely terrible. And I've got to say, too, that I love to tell business owners, and, you know, this might sound harsh, but it's true, that instead of blaming, take a look and take responsibility. Because how much responsibility is someone taking when they're blaming? 0. And so, is that accurate? Is that the way things are? No. We are all responsible for what we create in our lives. True? So I take business owners out behind the barn and I go, you know what? In some way, the situation that's going on with your business right now is a reflection of you. It's a reflection of your mindset. It's a reflection of your consciousness. It's a reflection of how much you're burnt out or how off track you are with your passion. So the first place to turn that around is to reconnect with your own values, with your own passion, with what means something to you. So you really feel that purposefulness every single day. And that is such an important part of being a leader, is to know where you're going, why you're going there, who you're serving. So this is really an important part of it. And the last thing I'm going to say is if you have attempted to change, maybe it's your boss, maybe it's the owner of the business, and they don't change. My great mentor, Adele, who used to have Einstein over for dinner at her home, and I studied with her for 9 years. When I was a kid, I was 23, and I just couldn't get enough of that masterful, incredible person. But one of the things she taught me, if you can't change their thinking, change the person. So if you're working for a jerk, leave. Don't tolerate it. It's your life. It's your soul. And if you have someone unwilling, you know it's not working well for them. And so what you want to do is get great at hiring. Now, that is just the antidote to everything. You might be being held hostage by people just because you're not good at hiring. So honestly, recruiting is a very active thing, and Carly knows. She does open house recruiting events. She fills all of her seasonal associates, boom, right there. She gets to see them in action, and then she gets them into this training system that has just been fantastic, and her business has thrived. And also they look forward to every spring season when they're really at peak volume, which is fantastic. And so having the system and being great at hiring people will empower you to say no to someone who is unwilling. Can you see how important that is? So the other thing that I really see a lot is that if you're not good at screening, or if you're just kind of you get desperate and get that warm body, you know, I just got to I need a loader. I need someone to come and do some really, hi Janet, I need somebody to do some physical labor for me, you know, and so they go for a teenager. I'm going, really? The teenager, the minute they have a date on Friday night, they're not showing up. You know, it's like, why would you do that? But everybody's like, well, you know, we need them rugged and tough. But, you know, maybe they're not reliable. So you need to know what you're looking for up front before you start recruiting. And so guess what I'm giving you next week? I'm giving you a hiring webinar. And it's free. It's going to be 45 minutes. I'm starting in Pacific time at 5:30, and the name of it is How to Avoid the 3 Biggest Hiring Mistakes and Create Your Dream Team. And I believe that everyone, every year, needs to be refreshed on what am I looking for, what kind of person, and then go seek them out actively, instead of sitting passively and hoping the right people walk in the door, which doesn't happen, and especially if you don't know what you're looking for. So I really hope that these tips have really assisted you, and I want to get some clarity on you not tolerating performance that is or attitudes that you cannot turn around. And you've got to sometimes just take a look and say, you know what, it used to work great, but it's not working anymore. And I've got to tell you, your team will love it if you really hire from a very clear place of knowing what you're looking for and also what really works in terms of the values of you and your team, because that's got to all match. So, for example, if they're unwilling or if they live in blame, you're going to hear nothing but reasons and excuses. Or they're going to always have that. And during the interview, I'm just going to give you a little hint. If you hear have to, do I have to work Saturdays? Do I have to wear this shirt? If you hear have to, you know, who are they going to be serving? And also, where are they going to be hiding? So these things are so practical and so important. So will you please join me next Tuesday? And I'm going to give you some great tips, and also the mistakes that people make are very profound and it's like everything that you thought you knew is not real. It's not true. And mine is going to be such a simple, straightforward, wonderful way of learning how to do that. So the other thing is so I'm not going to do the Facebook Live next week. I'm going to do the webinar instead. I'll be in Spokane, Washington, Don, kind of close to you. So that's where I'm going to be implementing the system with a company there, which is great. So you won't see my irises background. But you'll see me, and also my wonderful partner Danielle, because we're both implementing there. And Carly, you met Danielle last year, isn't she great? So one of the things too is I'm going to continue doing Facebook Live. I just invite you all the time. I want to remind you of what you already know. And again, my passion, my mission in life is to really change the whole way of the workforce being a place where people, it's just like a sanctuary instead of something that's harsh or something that's competitive or there's a lot of blame or negativity and gossip. So we really want to shift the workforce. And that's what I've been doing for 32 years. I've learned so much along the way. And I've got to say, I've been super successful. And I've also created a sustainable kind of structure so that people can keep it going. And those of you who know, you can give me a thumbs up. And also, again, recommend these Facebook Lives. And if you have some topics that you'd like me to talk about, I mean, I just have a whole, just years and years and years of research and all kinds of cool tips and things that I've picked up along the way. So I just really want to share and make a difference in your life and in the lives of anyone else. So please share this video and also invite people to join Facebook and so they can be on the Facebook Lives with me. I have a whole library now. This is the 11th one that I've done, and each one is different. And I continue to create these, and I'm loving it. It's really fun. Even, getting on camera is kind of, but you know what? It's worth it because I get to be with you, and I also get to share the things that are so dear to my heart and the techniques, tools, and tips that make a difference in people's lives. And that's what I'm all about. So thank you so much for joining me. Make comments too, please. Just let me know how this is settling for you, and truly reach out. I'd love to talk to you. Take care.